you can't judge how kids look. Some kids who are funny looking as kids grow up to be amazing looking as adults, and then some kids who you go, oh, such a cute, handsome little kid. They grow up and you go, what the fuck happened to you? Like I love those things on like like Jerry Springer and shit, where it'd be like the jock rejected like the girl in high school because she was like a little bit dumpy for him or some shit like that. And then she comes out and she's like a fucking stunner, and he's like, oh my god, and she's like, don't you want all this? Don't you want all this, bitch? I'm like, yeah, girl, fucking show him what he missed. Yeah,
Jerry Springer.
I love that. Probably all fake though, knowing Jerry Springer. Also, this is Stephen here as a chef. Here, that's him as a chef, and we'll I'll sort of mention a little factoid about that in a moment for you as well. So we're going to look at we're just going to go through the victims and sort of talk about the things that happened with each one, and we're going to talk about the trial as well, because for me the trial is possibly kind of the most intriguing part, or the most interesting and frustrating part of it, and does sort of echo a lot of the things that we've sort of talked about in previous episodes as well, with sort of trials and things within the LGBTQ plus community. So if we get a little, I'll show you the pictures of the victims at the end, by the way.
Okay.
At the very end, I'll just go through that. So the first victim of Stevens was a guy called Anthony Walgate. Anthony was 23 years old, originally from Hull, and he was a fashion student at Middlesex University. Anthony had been known to occasionally work as an escort to earn some money, which no issues at all with that. Mm-hmm. No judging in any way, shape or form. I told you I had an application form to be an escort, remember?
Really?
Yeah, someone at university. I think when you're at uni, like, I think it must be, because I've heard of it before from people at uni. And there was a guy who was at uni who did it, and he gave me the application form for it, and I was like, I don't think I'm really cut out to be an escort. I mean, one, look at me, and two, I would have had to. I mean, I'm fully homosexual on the scale, so I would not have done well with escorting women around, I don't think.
I think you can get gay escorts, right?
Yeah, but then it just gets into a whole situation with, you know how paranoid I am. I'm not going to be going around in cars on dates with strangers, no matter how much freaking money they pay me. So yeah, he was an escort. And he was contacted by Stephen via an escort website on June 17th, 2014. Stephen asked to meet up with him. Anthony was always vigilant and told his friends who he was meeting, told him where he was going and when. He joked, very much like we do, it's just in case I get killed.
Oh,
I know, exactly. So he sounds like he was kind of like one of us. Like, he was very safe and everything like that. So, in the early morning of June 19th, unfortunately, Anthony's body was found on the doorsteps of Stephen's flat in Barking. Strangely enough, it was Stephen himself who had called 999, claiming to have found Anthony collapsed. Well, he said it was either from a seizure or he was just drunk on the street. There is a documentary that I've not yet watched, but the BBC did a documentary on it.
Oh, yeah, it was BBC 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, and apparently the 999 call can be heard in that documentary, but I've not listened to it, to be honest with you. But we might dip into that afterwards. Mm-hmm. Stephen was arrested for apparently perverting the course of justice a week later, when the police discovered that he had actually met Anthony via the escort website, after claiming that obviously he called 999 and said, I don't know, I'm a stranger on the doorstep, just collapsed.
But with that would have been easy, like, information to get though as well, because surely if he was an escort, it's all like above board and legit, and there would have been documents of.
Yeah, well, like we said as well, you know, he had told his friends and everything where he was going and when and all that. So, like, obviously, as soon as the police had gone to meet up with Anthony's friends, you know, they knew that the guy was telling porkies. Stephen then apparently changed the story, though, claiming that Anthony had taken a self-inflicted overdose inside of his flat while Stephen had just gone to work. So he's saying that obviously they came round, they did whatever, Stephen went to work and he just took an overdose.
You can't just do that. Like, you can't just say one thing and go, oh, actually, that is a lie.
And
let me say this instead.
And think it wouldn't cause suspicion?
Yeah.
Police treated Anthony's death as an accidental overdose.
Fuck off.
And though they took his DNA, they didn't do any further investigation at all in regards to it. So yeah, him changing his story and coming up with this fucking bullshit excuse. The police were like, okay, that's fine. We believe that.
Okay.
This, by the way, it does get more and more frustrating with the police in this. And
I'm already frustrated.
Yeah, and it's the frustrating part about it is that, you know, a lot of the times when we spoke about these things, like, to a point, we've sort of give the police a little benefit of the doubt because of the culture and the time which a lot of these sort of took place and the mentality of people in general. But this is in the past couple of decades, people's mentalities had changed, and I thought that the police had learned by that time. Clearly not so much. So yeah, as will become a common theme, Anthony's close friends called China and Kira grew frustrated with the police's attitudes and unwillingness to investigate further. Anthony's mother had asked the police to track his phone movements and to check Anthony's and Stephen's computers, but was told it was quote-unquote too expensive. Police took Anthony's personal effects from his house and took over 2 years to return them back to his parents.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, can I ask, when was this again, sorry?
This particular thing, June 19th, 2014.
2014.
So it's really fresh. This is really fresh. In the grand scheme of things, definitely.
Yeah.
So like I said, you would think that, you know, the technology for the crime scene investigations there, you know, it's not like they didn't have the tools there to investigate.
They just didn't want to.
They just didn't want to. Or they said it was too expensive. Fuck, can you really put a cost? Can you put a cost on that, really? I don't think you can.
No.
I'm sure if it was one of their children who this had happened to, they would be funding that out of their own pocket. They would be doing everything they can to get that paid for.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, sort of goes on. There's not really too much information about what happens in between these situations. So we're just sort of bouncing from one thing to another thing and going forwards like that.
Yeah.
The second victim was a guy called Gabriel Kovari, who was a 22-year-old who had recently moved to the UK from Slovakia. Gabriel had moved to the UK in the hopes of being able to live his life as a gay man in a place where he would be accepted.
Straight away, that sucks.
Yeah, so he comes here for a better life, a place where he's not going to be persecuted for being who he is, for loving who he wants to love. And unfortunately, Gabriel's body was found on August 28th, 2014, in the graveyard of St. Margaret's Church. Gabriel, just like Anthony, was found to have died from an overdose of GHB.
Sorry, I'm not too sure what... I'm not all brushed up in me drugs and stuff like that, so what's GHB?
GHB is... it's essentially like a date rape drug.
Right, okay.
Which people use, but it's incredibly strong. Like people, the crazy fucking thing about GHB, and this is how I heard about it before hearing about it as a date rape drug. Because when I used to go out in Liverpool in the gay scene, there was the drug thing there was a lot more open than it is in Manchester. Okay. More talked about. Well, it was. With the circle of friends I sort of look around it. But yeah, we never did fucking GHB. Fuck that. No. GHB, people take it in like minuscule doses, like tiny little bits, and then they sort of trip balls. But you do, it makes you, it can make you unconscious, it can make you paralyzed for a short amount of time, it can make you black out, and then, if you literally get the dosage a little bit off, it can be fatal, and you can just die. So, if anyone out there is friggin' thinking of taking GHB, think of fucking them, because, you're not a fucking chemist, unless you are a chemist, then you should fucking know better if you're a chemist than to stick this shit in your body. But yeah, GHB is just it's a fucked up drug essentially.
Yeah.
But it's in terms of the world of like chemsex and shit, I think it's one of those that's kind of prevalent within that.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
But yeah, that's what they were found of. When GHB was becoming a bit more of a thing, I sort of tuned out. Man, that part of my life was gone at that stage. Just to note, St. Margaret's Church is relatively close to Stephen's house. It's not too far away. It could be a good opportunity, actually, if you want to have a quick gander at Stephen's digs. If you want to have a look, got a few photos.
Okay.
Stephen's apartment. So there it is. Again, you guys can nip on over to our Facebook page if you want to have a little video of these images yourself.
That looks relatively nice.
It looks like a nice flat. I was expecting like a proper like scummy, you know, like when we saw Dennis Nilsson's place,
like
and it was
dive.
like, yeah, and it was like fucking trash, man, and and there was just shit everywhere. But
really
look at the inside. The interior looks quite nice. It looks quite well put together. You got all this little corridor, but you know what? You know, the eerie thing when I always look at these images is like, oh fuck, this is where they walked down. This is where they were carrying. Maybe what was he thinking? You know, all this. Like, look at his bedroom. This is where the bedroom was, and it looks just like any other normal. To be fair, it looks more normal than our place, but
it's got that eerie undertone to it.
Yeah, because you know what fucking shit's gone down there. Yeah, very weird. And it just shows, you know, you could walk into a place like this, you know, you could hook up with someone, walk into a place like this, and you could see, you know, you could go, oh, you know what, this looks actually quite nice. This guy's not going to do anything. He's pretty together. He's quite clean. Wherever you walk into our place, you go, fuck, I need a hepatitis B shot, I need a hepatitis C shot before I go in here. Like, yeah.
Rabies
shot? Rabies shot? What the fuck? Yeah, so it just goes to show, you know, appearances and all that shit, yeah. It says here on the front of that, Cookie Street. Or Cook Street. Oh,
that's
Cook Street.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought for a second...
As in the song?
From... Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, I thought, oh, is this where Only Fools and Horses was? Oh, dreams shattered.
God bless Cookie Street.
Fever Cookie Street. I don't know. I can't even remember that. Fuck. Where were we? Shit.
Every single time.
Yeah. We digressed. So with Gabriel, a few months before his death, he had met a man called John through Grindr. He was looking for a place to stay, and John allowed Gabriel to rent a room at his house, and the two of them became friends. After 6 weeks, however, Gabriel told John he no longer needed the room. They had a final drink together and said farewell. As it turns out, John was not the man he moved in with, but instead his name was... Can you guess?
Go on.
You can guess. Bill Cosby. No, it wasn't. It was not Bill Cosby. But these
Speaking of
two
Bill Cosby,
very similar things. Oh, what?
That video of like when he was doing the Cosby Show, and he's just staring at that woman.
It's so spooky. I mean, you know what it kind of links to this with all the fucking date rape and shit. But yeah, so Gabriel thought he moved in with a guy called John, but it was in fact Stephen Port who he'd moved in with. Stephen was using a fake online alias. There was some images that I found as well of some of the other fake profiles that he set up, and they were so just freaking crazy. I mean, he was like showing himself as like this young teen, like Puerto Rican looking boy, and he was calling himself like Blaine and shit. And I was like, dude, when people come and see you face to face, they're not meeting 16-year-old Blaine. They're meeting fucking gross guy, which I'll show you some
18-year-old Blaine.
18-year-old Blaine. I don't know. The picture he used looked
young.
Very young, yeah. So I don't know what he was trying to hunt for. Stephen's neighbour, Ryan, met Gabriel and became friendly with him, but was concerned when Gabriel suddenly disappeared. John tried to contact Gabriel, but was unsuccessful. A week after Gabriel moved out of John's flat, John received a visit so he moved in with Oh.
John
Yeah.
in air
Yeah.
quotes.
Yeah. Sorry. Again, I'm quoting off this copy and paste thing, and